What is up, squad? We are going to have a healthy and productive day, and we're going to talk about tech sales as well. This book right here has the secrets that you need to crush it in tech sales, crush it in life, and basically do more with less if you're someone who is interested in getting into tech sales or is a high performer or wants to be an entrepreneur. This book is game changer. I have generated over $400,000 in pipeline in tech sales, and I've made about 50,000 cold calls, something around there. And yeah, today I want to talk about day in the life, being healthy, productive habits, but also similar to showing you that book, tips on how to crush it in tech sales and tips on what a day-to-day is like in tech sales. People who watch my channel are typically asking me what I do, and they want kind of more strategic, like sales tactics on how to be a BDR in tech sales, how to get into tech sales, but also do the role. So today I'm going to share a little bit of both, a little bit about learning about the role and what the day-to-day looks like there, but also just having fun and what I do in my free time, and then how I have free time, which is why I brought up that book. So that's what we're gonna do in today's video, so stick around. I'm gonna head to the sauna and do ice bath. It is Saturday, and that's what I'm gonna do in the morning. It's what I do on the weekends, like in the mornings. And then I'm gonna come back and do a little bit of work on showing you guys what goes on in tech sales behind the scenes. And yeah, it's gonna be kind of day in the life, so let's do it. Before we head to the sauna quick though, my appointment's at like 9, so it's gonna take a bit. I have a minute here. The first thing you want to address if you want to perform well in tech sales is your why. Why am I even doing this? Why am I doing anything? Why am I getting out of bed in the morning? And this has to do with energy. So I talk a lot on my channel about having more autonomy and energy in your life, and it's like basically my mission of what I want to help people with here and what this content is about that I make. But to have energy, you need to know why you're doing something. And so for people who get into tech sales, and this is a piece that I missed, you know, I had these surface level whys, like, oh, I just want to make more money. I just want to like get paid well and like move out. And like, those are good things, but I started to, you know, when things get tough, which they do, it can be a tough job, right? If you don't have a clear why and remember your why, and know what you're working towards and why you're doing what you're doing, you're gonna burn out and you're going to start not caring about the work and stop having motivation, and your brain will stop wanting to work for you. It'll stop giving you the energy that you need to do good work. And so this is one of the first things you want to address before you get into tech sales, or when you get into tech sales, is what's my why? Ideally before, because then you have more drive to actually get a role. But you want to have like your why, and you want to list it out on a piece of paper. Like for someone like me, it might be like more freedom, pay off student debt, because I think tech sales is perfect for someone who is lost after school, doesn't know what career they want to get into. Maybe they're trying and working different jobs that are like location bound, and they want more freedom. They want to work remote, and they want to, and they have debt like from school, or they just need to stack cash and aren't making enough to like move out of home, which is another thing, you know, be independent, want to make money so that you can be independent and yeah, just move out of your parents' home. And this is like something I wish I learned sooner, tech sales, because it allowed me to have that freedom to move out of home and also pick where I wanted to live in the country, and then travel a ton, which is another thing. Travel, like that's your why. And then like even more long-term, it's like build skills to be an entrepreneur. Or maybe for you, it's like, this is definitely what it is for me, but maybe for you, it's like be a manager one day, or maybe you just want to make a certain amount of money, and getting into tech sales and crushing it in tech sales might be the path toward that. Like if for a manager role, or maybe you want to be a VP of sales, I don't know. Or maybe you just want to be an entrepreneur and want to build these skills that will help you be able to generate cash in any environment, wherever you are. And maybe you want to start your own business and make an impact on the world. And sales will help you in so many different ways from that. Speaking, it'll help you learn time management. It'll help you learn how to work, how business works. It'll help you learn how people work. And it'll just give you that leg up to be successful in whatever venture you want to get into. But having a good why is the first step here to having energy, and it's going to unlock another gear in your brain. And I've learned this from, mentors that I've worked with, but it's going to unlock another gear in your brain to give you motivation to work, basically, and do it and show up every day and get out of bed and be excited to get out of bed. So I recommend having this and looking at it a few times a week, and it's going to really do something magical for you. Just grabbed a coffee. Let's hit the sauna. Woo! Cold plunge is serious stuff. You sit in that water and your brain just starts freaking out. It starts just going like wanting to get out. But you feel phenomenal after. And if you stick it out and sit in that water, it'll train your brain to start being more calm, and it'll make it easier for you to do hard things because you're resisting that urge for it to just want to hop out of the water. And then the sauna, so good. So it's going to be a new routine for me. I've been doing sauna, but not the cold plunge. So definitely going to be sticking this out. And I think it has so many benefits. It doesn't even make sense how many benefits. It doesn't make sense not to do it. So yeah, let's get back to the crib and talk about some things. All right, so this is my new favorite item of my apartment. It is the juicer. And basically, I love to juice like ginger, spinach, kale, and all these good, healthy, natural ingredients and make and fill up these mason jars with just healthy juice. It just makes me feel phenomenal, especially combining that with the cold plunge we just did. So I'm gonna make some juice, and then we're gonna get into day in the life, tech sales, what I do, and you're gonna learn a couple things. So yeah, let's make this juice. Finished product, we got nice green texture with the ginger on the bottom. Super strong. This is gonna really be difficult to drink, but it's gonna feel super good. And then these are the 4 supplements that I take daily. And I'm gonna take a sip of this and show you guys each individually why I take these supplements. This is definitely part of my healthy and productive routine. Qualia, this is what I've been taking for focus. It has a ton, all the things that you can imagine to help your brain with focus, like lion's mane, vitamin B, C, biotin, all these things that I haven't done too much research on, but I trust these people, and they, I'm not sponsored or anything, but when I take these, I feel like I have so much focus, laser focus, and I'm able to get a ton of work done. I then take apple cider vinegar pills because this just helps. The digestive system is one of the biggest things that helps with your focus in your brain. Digestive health is directly linked to your focus, and also things like anxiety or depression or brain fog. So if you can have such a clean gut, and that's another reason why I like making juice like this, if you can have a clean gut, the more work you can get done, the easier work can feel like, and the better you feel, the more energy you have, and therefore the more money you make. So I also take coal, wild coal or charcoal, because this also helps with that digestive cleanliness. And then I take turmeric and ginger and curcumin. This also just helps with that. If I take these 4, I usually feel like $1,000,000, and I take them every day before work, and it helps me just get a ton done. I'm eating grapes too as well. So take these, and we'll go to the whiteboard. Cool magic happens is on this desk. We got my incense that I'm gonna light up in a bit, but this is kind of it. We got a mic, we got a nice plant. This is where I dial in and can make it stand up or sit down if I wanna do that. But yeah, this is where stuff is going on, and I'm gonna show you a bit. We're gonna tap in, we're gonna bring the whiteboard over. All right, let's get into routine. So what does a tech sales routine actually look like? Sales is a very autonomous role, first off. So with more freedom around your schedule comes more responsibility, right? So the way that sales works is basically you have a number to hit at the end of each month. It's called a quota. Usually as a BDR, it is just a certain amount of meetings booked or meetings delivered or opportunities created, basically like meetings that you book for the account executive to then take those calls and find out and try and close the deal. So usually you want to open up a certain amount of those per month. And then as long as you hit that number, you pretty much are in control of your own schedule in terms of hitting that number. So it's kind of on you. And of course there's trainings and there's skill development sessions that your company organizes usually. But aside from that, you kind of got to figure out when to do what and what to do and how to fill up your time. So it's good and bad. It's a two-edged sword, right? You have the freedom that you want. You can carve out time. If you like working in the mornings, you can work in the mornings. If you like working more like at night, you can also carve out time there and then have more free time in other areas. But it really comes down to routine. And that's why I brought up the 80-20 principle book earlier in this video, because that is the biggest thing that's going to help determine your routine and help give you a good routine. And it's what I've implemented, and it's stuff that I've learned from mentors and working in the role. And before breaking into sales, I've paid for coaching and paid recruiters and sales managers to learn different aspects of the role, especially around breaking in. But I've learned a lot in this area of crafting a good routine. So let's get into it. 80-20s of your routine is basically, there's three things that you do in your tech sales routine. One is prospect. Two is call/have conversations. And three is skill development. And I believe and have learned that these three things, if you do these three things every day and maximize your time doing these three things in each day, this is what is going to drive the most results. So let me touch on what 80-20 is. It's basically this Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto, came up with this in like 1920s. I believe it was, 1896. This guy named Vilfredo Pareto. He looked into a ton of data on companies that were generating revenue and how that worked, and basically found that for every 20% of effort, 80% of the revenue of the entire company was generated. And then he looked into data on people, like for every 20% of activities that someone does, that 20% yields 80% of the results, and then all the others only yield like that extra 20% left over. So in the simplest way, this principle is true across all areas of life. And if you can use this to your advantage in tech sales, which I will show you, you can work a lot less and get a lot more results. So the idea with sales is, okay, some people are busy, and being busy sucks. Some people like check email 7 times a day, or they're checking Slack messages, chatting with teammates, and starting their day and kind of walking around the desk, and they don't have a clear like guideline of what their routine is. And then they end up doing all these activities that don't actually generate results. They don't actually move the needle forward. And so if you can really hone in on the 20% of activities that actually move the needle forward and generate 80% of the results, well, then you can focus less time, but on the right things, and generate 80% of your results by focusing on those things. And these are these three. So I use this to my advantage. And now let's talk about when to do this stuff. And I'll show you when I do it. But again, this is custom for every person, because how sales works is that it's autonomous. So basically, once we have those activities, prospect, have conversations with prospects, and skill development, which basically prospecting is just finding companies out there to outreach, finding people out there that are potential good fits for the product you're selling, and just finding them, right? And then outreaching them, like sending them an email with messaging about potential problems that your company solves and how you can help them and trying to get them on a meeting. That's prospecting. It's finding people and reaching out. Calling and conversations is basically like talking to the prospects on the phone and having meaningful conversations with them, which is basically if you have a conversation with the right person, like involved in what you, like the right person to speak to in relation to what you sell, and then the call goes over 30 seconds. That's a meaningful conversation. And then skill development is just learning and getting better each day. And if you neglect skill development, then you're just gonna be stagnant and never improve and have to continue. And don't fall into this trap, because I fell into this trap. If you don't skill dev, if you don't learn every day, then you'll end up doing the same output and getting the same input over time, over years, if you don't do this. So don't fall into this trap. I've fallen into this trap for months where I never carved out time to learn because I was so focused on doing. And it caused me to just not get better at the role, which meant I had to do the same effort because I wasn't getting better, and I had to continue to just work hard to get the same results. Whereas if I dialed it back and got better, and got better each day, it would have been easier to get the same results and would help me get more results in less time, which would make me be able to work less or work more and get more results instead of staying at the same. So don't neglect the skill development. It's the third 80-20 in tech sales. So here's my recommended routine. Basically, the routine is those three things. Like, I would wake up and the first thing I would do is get into some deep work. Deep work is like, just do one thing at a time. So do one of your 80-20s. I like to prospect in the morning. Like, let's say I log on at 9 a.m., prospect for like 30 minutes, maybe 45. And then after that, let's say like 10 a.m., make calls. And these are the 80-20s, right? And let's say like between 11:30 and 1 p.m., I have like a meeting like with my team, and then I take a break. And then maybe at 2, I make calls again. And then at 2:30, maybe I do skill dev. And so this is already pretty solid. I'm sticking to all my 80-20s. Meeting, there's probably going to be some learnings there, so it can kind of count as skill dev, but sometimes meetings are just something you have to do that necessarily don't always drive the needle forward. But basically, a routine in tech sales, you just want to maximize your 80-20s that I talked about. Prospecting, when am I going to prospect? When am I going to make calls? And when am I going to learn skill dev? When am I going to learn something, whether it's reading a book, whether it's watching a training, whether it's listening to other people's calls? When am I going to do that? And then you kind of can put your blocks wherever you want around like any meetings you have. Maybe if you really wanted to, you can go like gym at 3 and then get back on at 4 and then make calls. Like however you want to do it. Now I recommend just getting work out of the way and then kind of using gym to unplug. But basically that's like how I recommend doing your routine. Now there's ways that you can make this more effective, and that's what I'm going to get into now. But basically just do your 80-20s and do them in areas that work for you. And now to put this on steroids, there's other things that you can do to maximize your effort, but that's how I would handle organizing my calendar. So there's something called golden hours. And basically golden hours is the fire times, the hottest times to catch prospects on the phones. And there's different opinions about this, but there's different studies. But the one that I think is the most accurate is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. is usually when people you're trying to call are not in any meetings, they're not busy, they're likely out and about or before work. So this is a great time to catch people in your local time. So their local time. So if you work on the East Coast, or if you're calling East Coast prospects, make sure it's their local time. But if you're on the West Coast or calling West Coast prospects, make sure that you call them during these local times for them, right? And then the second one is 12 to 2 p.m. local time, the prospect's local time. And then the other one is 4 to 6 p.m. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to call those whole hours, but it means, okay, for our 80-20 block of calling, I want to make sure that I've put them in these to maximize my connects, my actual chances of having conversations with people, because this is about working smarter, not harder. If I made a shit ton of calls, but they were outside of these hours, well, I'm kind of wasting my time because it's the least likely to connect with people, and I'm just spending time where it's not smart to. When I probably should be prospecting, like finding people to reach out to and emailing them and like putting call tasks to call them or getting them in a sequence, which is basically just like, email messaging going out to try and book meetings but also you want to do calls. But yeah, it's better to do that, like that 80-20, like prospecting and skill development outside of the golden hours for calling. So again, your schedule's custom, but follow smart rules to make sure you're like, if you call for 30 minutes within this time frame, it's better than calling for a whole hour outside of a good time to call, right? So keep that in mind to make your routine more effective. And then also, and this is what I do, right? Like I just organize it each day based on what I want to do, but make it smart. And then also you can do Parkinson's law. We're getting super into these laws, but basically Parkinson's law is a law that's been studied and researched and is true that if you've ever had a test or a project due for like school and you waited till last minute and then somehow ended up getting it done pretty easily and quickly, that's Parkinson's law, because the law states something will take as long as you give it. So you can complete something as long as the deadline you give it. So if you give something a month to get finished, it's going to take the whole month. But if you give yourself a week to get it finished, it's going to take the whole week. If you give yourself an hour to get something done, you can get it done in that hour. And so that's taking advantage of our brain power and making it easier to get something done by giving us a short deadline. So how I would use this to your advantage, if you want more results and work less, is give yourself deadlines and actually be like, okay, this is a 45-minute prospecting block. I have a 45-minute prospecting block at 10 a.m., like after the golden hours, and I'm gonna get 40 prospects enrolled in the sequence, or I'm gonna prospect 40 people. So now you have a challenge in a deadline, 40 minutes. By the end of the 45 minutes, you want to get 40 prospects, and treat it like you had this shit due in 45 minutes and you got to get it done for the life of you. This is going to activate new energy in your brain to get this done, and it's going to take advantage of a law that is a law of the universe that you can't ignore. And you'll be shocked that if you do this, and like granted, every time, sometimes I get distracted during these, but trying not to be distracted and doing these deep work, one task blocks is gonna be really how you're gonna see success. So use this law to your advantage. You can do it with calls, you can do it with skill dev. You could be like, okay, in this 1 hour of skill development, I'm gonna listen to 5 top performing calls and take notes on them. And I have to get it done in this hour, which means it's gonna push you not to like procrastinate, not to get around and walk around, get a snack, right? It's gonna force you to do it. And then this way you can spend your time more wisely, meaning you're buying yourself more free time. Because if you kind of work the hours of like 9 to 5 or 8:30 to 5:30, whatever you work, if you work those hours but half-ass it and don't take advantage of squeezing the most juice out of it, well then you might as well you're not gonna get as much done, and you're kind of just wasting your energy. You might as well work half those hours, but use these laws and then use your free time, because you can get the same amount, if not more, done in half the day leveraging these principles than you can if you work 9 to 5 and then and kind of half-ass it all. And trust me, it's hard to do this, and it takes time, and it's something I still work on today. But it's what we work toward. It's what we work towards. It's being able to do less and get more, and get more results and have more free time. And this is how this is some ways that you're gonna get there. The last tip I'll say is the other tip I'll say to make your day easier and make your life easier, and that ties into routine, is like, not every day you're gonna book a meeting. And so your quota's usually measured on booking meetings, right? But some days, if you don't book a meeting, but you get a shit ton of work done, like if you prospect a ton of good prospects, and if you have good conversations and you learn a ton that day, but you don't book a meeting, you can feel kind of discouraged and feel like you didn't do anything when actually you did. And the work you did that day is going to contribute to your results in the following days. So it's important not to get discouraged when you don't book a meeting, but instead of putting your success on meetings booked or like your quota, put it on your daily non-negotiables. And if you hit these, then you'll have a good day, even if you don't book a meeting, because you know that what you're doing in your control is contributing to those meetings booked. So I would do like 35 prospects, 35 new prospects enrolled, or you can just say prospected. 35 people prospected. You can do 4 meaningful conversations, meaning 4 conversations with the right people that you want to speak with that go over 30 seconds. I found that with my conversion rate lately, that every 4 conversations with the right person, I usually book a meeting. So that's also important too, to calculate that, because then you know, like, if you do need 2 meetings one day, you probably want 8 conversations. But in general, this is a good number to have in each day. And then the other one is like 30 minutes minimum skill development. And notice how these are our 80-20s. These are the 20% of activities. If we do this as much as we can, it's going to yield the most results and actually drive the needle forward. And it's all stuff that you can control. You can control this. So if I don't book a meeting, but I do this, I know I'm on the right track, and it was a win in my book. And I feel good about it, and I can unplug from work knowing that I won. I won the day, and I won what I can control. And that's another smart thing that you want to learn. So that's basically it. I covered like all the bases. Simplicity in your tech sales routine and simplicity in general is what's gonna make you be successful. You don't wanna be this busy person who has 20,000 tasks. And like, I say this because I've fallen in this trap, and sometimes I still do fall in this trap where I'm just being busy. I just have so much stuff to do, and I feel like I'm being busy checking email, talking with teammates, connecting too long on meetings or unplanned, Zoom calls with teammates, or just walking around the house too much, walking around, getting snacks when I don't want it. Like I've fallen into this trap of just being busy and feeling like I'm just getting stuff done and thinking that everything's complicated. But if you really boil it down simply like this is how people win. This is how you win. And this stuff has helped me become a top performer consistently. So simplify it. Do 3 things each day and do what you can control, track it, and be confident in that you won the day if you stick to your metrics. And you can use, a little tip is there's this Chrome extension you can download that it's called like Tally Chrome extension. And I love to use it because it allows me to keep track of like these things, and I can click whenever I get a prospect. Like whenever I prospect someone, I can click it and I try to get a certain number. Whenever I have a conversation with someone, I can click it. And that way I can keep track of my daily metrics and know that when I accomplish what I need to accomplish, I can check out for the day. So that's how this stuff works. And I love the autonomy of being in tech sales and having to be in control of your own schedule, but it can be hard unless you know how to manage it. And that's why knowing things like Parkinson's Law, Pareto Principle, golden hours, and leveraging these things, and even Pomodoro. Pomodoro is the idea that if you focus on one thing at a time for a set amount of time, it's kind of similar to Parkinson's, but it allows you to get into this deep work state when your brain knows that there's a timer going on. So you can also download, it's called Pomodoro extension. The icon looks like a little tomato, and it allows you to just easily time yourself. And then it activates something in your brain to help you work better. So these little things and simple things is what will help you really crush it as a tech sales rep. And it's just stuff that I've learned. And whatever your long-term goal is, to be an entrepreneur or to move abroad and work under an entrepreneur eventually once you have tech sales skills, which is actually a route that I recommend I recommend Tech Sales is great for beginners and getting to learn. And then if you do crave like that ultimate freedom, like to go longer than 2 weeks on trips, you know, that's an option for you too as well. But I think Tech Sales is the greatest place to start to get skills, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur and be independent and learn about these skills that you'll need in entrepreneurship, and that'll help you out. So that's a lot, but I know that if you're watching this, it's helpful for someone who wants to learn more about tech sales and how to crush it. So hope you enjoyed that piece. Let's get back into the rest of the day. All right, so we talked about time management and day-to-day working, but what's even more important than working is unplugging, is rest and recharge. You see, I always struggled with trying to work all the time because I was so ambitious and wanted to overperform and feel like I don't have any time to waste in life, which I don't, but it was hard for me to take breaks. And when I learned that you actually can't be in a high performance state unless you first go through rest and recharge first. And once I learned this and how we operate and how I need to rest and recharge if I want to do good work, it caused me to give myself permission to start resting more, and I ended up seeing way better results. So just realize that rest and recharge is how you're going to see better results. It's how you're going to activate and like achieve your highest performance. So it's simple, but it took a while to click, so now I have less resistance to taking breaks, and just realize that it will help you out. And this is still sometimes a struggle for me, but it's good. And work isn't always what it seems. Like, it might sound counterintuitive to sit or walk in the sun and take a break from work, and there's all these people online like Alex Hormozy, Sam Ovens, and like all these people who, you know, the culture to hustle and just constantly do. And that if you take a break, like, you're weak, like it's really unrealistic. And these people that you even watch like take breaks too. So just realize that in reality, rest and recharge will help you do your best work, and you need to mesh it in. And this is, you know, I say this because I struggled with this. But anyways, we're closing out the day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Just chilling in the sauna, and I hope to see you in another vid. Peace. Chat out.